And we are live back again for another episode of Near Falls in the WPIAL. It's your boy D-Hall with my main man, Marky Kaz. How are you, sir?
What's up, brother?
Pumped for another episode. Those of you that are just joining us, that little intro music, it took me off guard, so it's completely different. It wasn't by my choice. StreamYard changed it up. It's a little different. I kind of liked it though. But man, we got a great show for you guys. Of course, it is West Regional Weekend. Kaz, Double A is going on over at Altoona, correct?
Yeah, so Southwest. Sorry, I was just sending out a
It's
tweet
all
for
good.
the show. Yeah, so Double A Southwest Regionals are at Altoona High School. That is District 5, 6, and 7 combined, and then we have the debut of the AAA West Regionals. So I know I'm excited. You're excited, and it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. Last step to Hershey.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. The highly controversial West Regional, as we've seen on Twitter over the last few days. But before we dive into all that, let's hit the music.
Welcome to the Near Falls WPIAL Show, where D-Hall and Kaz are gonna tell you all the things you wanna know. Whether it's Trinity or Spencer Lee or Mr. Kurt Angle, just ask Vinny D, WPIAL, yeah, Ken and Mac for sure. They got the interviews to soothe your soul, because it's Near Falls in the WPIAL.
All right. So I guess, Kaz, we'll do Double A first, then go into Triple A. As we're breaking down the brackets for the West Regional, we'll dive into like recaps of both Double A and Triple A WPIALs. I would say it's probably how we'll rip it. What do you think?
Sounds good to me, man.
All right. So before we dive into that, let's give a little love to the sponsors. You see him up in the top right-hand corner, his logo. That is Mike Smith at Smitty'sCornerRugs.com. My man, thank you so much for the support this year. Again, get yourself a set of Smitty's Corner Rugs, class up your event, and get you an investment while protecting your mats. So thank you so much, Mr. Smitty. Second one, D1 Wrestling Club at D1Wrestling.com. Mr. James Fleming. Of course, looking at these brackets, we're going to dive into a bunch of these kids, not only Thomas Jefferson, which is where it's located down there in Jefferson Hills, but many other high school and a bunch of stud junior high kids as well. Go to the club down there, D1Wrestling.com. Go check them out. Again, thank you, Mr. Fleming. Jim Akerley over at Quest School of Wrestling, questwrestling.com in 84, Pennsylvania. Again, I say it every single time I read this ad, but it is a must listen. Go check out my interview with Jim Akerley. I sat right down on his mats in his gym. It was fantastic. One of my favorite interviews since I started the podcast. And of course, my main man, Chris Cars over at Switch Custom Apparel, was able to hand out a bunch of t-shirts this weekend to coaches and kids alike. And that's all thanks to my main man, Chris Cars. All right. So without further ado, let's dive into it, man. Southwest Double A. Let's see.
We're going to see some Smitty corner rugs at Ken and Mac this weekend.
Of course. Yeah.
They're always there.
Yeah. So he's been there for Powerade for years. He's got some out in Clovis, and he was at the national championships for a couple years. He's going to be a part of the CWA. He's a big sponsor for the CWA that, I've been pumping a lot here in March before the NCAA championship. So yeah, Smitty's the man. And of course, when you see a set of Smitty's corner rugs, it's a classy event, my main man. So, all right. 107 Double A. Kaz, you look at this bracket here, brother. Again, a lot of this, what we're going to talk about, at least for Double A purposes, you'll correct me if I'm wrong here, Kaz, though, but a lot of McCourt, A lot of WPIAL, a lot of Chestnut Ridge.
Yeah, you said it. These brackets are heavy Bishop McCourt, heavy Chestnut Ridge, heavy Penns Valley, and heavy WPIAL. Very heavy. And that's, I'm not going to say that's typical. It's always typical heavy WPIAL with the emergence of McCourt over the past 2-3 years. Chestnut Ridge, I mean, they're a staple in the Southwest region. I mean, it feels like them and Burrow wrestle twice every year. They end up wrestling Derry this year. Everyone knows the Chestnut Ridge name, and they're always competitive. Better than competitive, they're always damn good. And then Penns Valley has a really nice team down there as well, and you'll see a couple Bald Eagle names in here too. Bald Eagle has some tough kids in this bracket. So that's just a quick little rundown of the.
So break it down. How many make it from the AA regional to states?
Top 7 make it from AA to states. Last year it was 6 made it. They got an extra qualifier this year, so that's good for the Southwest region and the WPIAL. So 7 qualifiers out of here. You punch your ticket to the semis, you're in. You'll know 4 people will know day 1 if they're in or not. They wrestle up to the semis, and then you got the tough round in the morning on Saturday, and similar to AAA WPIALs, that 7th and 8th place match is the kind of the do or die match for you.
Absolutely. And so I mean, you look at this bracket here, Kaz. I mean, you got to think that Keegan Bassett's probably the heavy favorite here, but the one seed out of the WPIAL, Mr. Tum Tum, he's been fantastic this year, and I would not be surprised to see him give Mr. Bassett all he can handle.
Yeah, I agree. Bassett is the clear-cut favorite here. They have him at the 2 seed, but based on the seeding criteria, how you do the previous year has a lot of weight. And Bassett being the freshman doesn't have last year points. So don't let the 2 seed alarm anyone. To everybody, he is the clear-cut favorite here. And that's nothing against Santa Maria or Chambers. But yes, I agree. Chambers has been on a hell of a run. He's going to give you everything he got. I'm excited to see that potential matchup. And then as far as the top half of the bracket there, I see it being Santa Maria coming out on top. I saw him a couple of times this year. I think Gage Shawley from Huntington can pose a little bit of problems for him. He was the runner-up to Bassett at their district tournament. But I expect to see Keegan Bassett on the top of the podium come Saturday evening.
Yeah, man, it's hard to disagree with you. It's kind of how I let it off, and we'll see how it all plays out. But how many from the WPIAL do you see potentially getting out of here?
So I think Chambers out of Highlands has a great opportunity. I fully expect Chambers to get out of here. And then after that, I think Darius Simmons of Burgettstown has a good shot to get out. He's sitting in at the 4, where with the predetermines, he's in the 4 seed spot. I think he'll be okay in his first round match. I kind of expect him to see Shawley in the quarters. I think that's a tough matchup for him. But looking at the bracket on the backside, I do think Simmons will get out of this bracket as well. I think Chambers is definitely going to states, and I think Simmons has a damn good shot to be there as well. Everybody else, I feel like it has a tougher road, but those would be the 2 that I have the most confidence in.
Like it. All right, let's move it on. 114. Another Bishop McCourt kid. I really like Herring in this weight. Boo Bash is fantastic for the WPIAL. Anderchek's fantastic for the WPIAL. I mean, this is a really good weight. Easton Moe up top is a guy that I feel like has been around forever. I feel like I've seen his name over there at Chestnut Ridge. Definitely a sneaky nice weight here, Cass.
Yeah, I agree. I think Maul and Herring are on a collision course to meet in the finals. But going through my bracket, I do have Anderchek and Boo Bash in the semis. That was a awesome WPIAL finals match they wrestled last week. Great match.
Rubber match that would be, Kaz. They're 1-1 against each other because I believe Anderchuk took the first one.
Anderchuk took the first two.
First two. Okay. I missed the middle one then.
Yeah.
What would that have been at counties?
No, that would,
Hold on. It's not like we don't have a computer in front of us. Go ahead. Do your thing. I'll look it up.
I don't know if it was at counties or not. For some reason, I feel like they didn't.
Boo Bash. Let's check it out.
For some reason, I want to say EF wasn't at Allegheny Counties this year for some reason.
Okay, hold on. So Anderchuk, he beat Anderchuk 3-2 recently. Lost to him 1-0, 129-25. So that maybe
would have been
WPIAL. Maybe Burgettstown. Lost him in ultimate tiebreaker. Lost him 1-0. Beat him 3-2.
Yeah, and after watching the match on Saturday, it was a hell of a 3-2 match that they wrestled. But I fully expect both of these two to get out. I think they'll both be in the semis. I think there's a good chance they wrestle for third and fourth. And then another name I wouldn't count out here is Clayton Ely out of McGuffey. I think he's in a pretty good spot to make it out of this bracket. But this weight is tough. Not obviously from a WPIAL standpoint, but from District 5 and District 6, there are a number of guys here. Obviously, Maul and Herring, the ones as the top two seeds, but Hummel out of Phillipsburg, Osceola is really good. Max Dingus of Penns Valley, I saw him earlier this year, really good, as well as Aiden Repogle in Northern Bedford. There's a lot of depth here outside of the WPIAL, and then you throw in these guys to make it even tougher. I got Anderchuk and Boo Bash. I comfortably say they'll make it. And then Ely, I think, has a really good shot out of McGuffey.
I like it. Don't sleep on my boy Victor Wagner. I love that. Yes. Love my man there, and I think that he has a chance to do some stuff on the backside. So that would be the only other one I want to highlight. All right, move on. 121. All right, Kaz. And this one, I feel like it's kind of Dom Deputy and everyone else.
Yeah, Guano of Bald Eagle, I think him and Deputy will be a good match. But I do see Deputy's the favorite here. There's no question. I think Deputy wins the weight. But I think Guano is definitely a tough out for him from Bald Eagle.
Yeah, there's no doubt. He's solid, and you can't count him out. It's just you look at some of the wins that Deputy's put up and, beating Fenella at Powerade, taking third there. And it's just, I just got him, man. I think he's just a little bit too much for the rest of the weight here. And that's not to say, Kazanovic and Thomas, I both have a fantastic shot to get to states. And I expect both of them to get to states here. But, I just think Deputy's a little bit too much.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Deputy's definitely the class of this weight right now. But from a WPIAL standpoint, I think Thomas and Kazanovic will both get to the semis, punching their tickets to states. I actually think the WPIAL will have good representation in this weight class at the state tournament. I think Thomas and Kazanovic are both going to get in. I think Noah Collins from West Green's going to get in as well. And then, Dylan Bateman, there's going to be a couple matches in this bracket where you're going to see a Bateman and like a Jack Silfies out of McCord on the backside, or Tucker Main in there. Like there's 3 or 4 guys kind of what I would say are toss-up matches on that backside. But I definitely think the Whippy will get at least 3 here. If they get 4, it wouldn't surprise me. If they snuck a 5th in there, there's a decent chance.
I like it. All right. 127. Man, I love my man Bonnie out of Central Valley. Talked about him all year. I think that he has a fantastic shot to do big things here. I got him going all the way to the finals, Kaz. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I have him in the finals as well. And I think him and Carlisle is an incredible match. Carlisle and Cam Baker of Burrow wrestled in the dual meet this year at Burrow. I was fortunate enough to watch that match, and it was incredible. Baker won a close decision. Was a hell of a match between those two. And I know Boney is right there in the conversation, with the Bakers and the Carlisles of the world, and the Moochies, kind of all those guys are in those same weights over the past how many years. That is a really good finals match. I think it's an entertaining match too. So I have Carlisle and Boney in the finals. Boney going to punch his ticket to the state tournament for the third year in a row now, I think it is. And after that, from a WPIAL standpoint, I feel like, I'm not saying it's down, but there's a lot of depth in other districts here that, with Klaus and Gable and Tinsman, Carfley, and don't count out, like Austin Carfley's 18-12 out of McCourt, but go watch some of his matches and take into consideration he's wrestled at Ironman, Powerade, and the best tournaments in the country all year long. I'm interested to see the Willie, or the potential of Trendon Willie at Chestnut Ridge. Just looking through the bracket, I have him meeting Giovanni Beatrice on the backside in a match that could really determine who's going or not. Beatrice out of Derry, and I think that's a really interesting match. I do not know if they met in the Chestnut Ridge and Derry duel in the state tournament, but I think that's a very interesting match there. Could go either way. Beatrice is having a hell of a senior year for Derry. Kind of been a staple in that lineup. He's been at feels like he's been at 8 different weights in his career, going up and down, but he's plugged along really nice in his 4 years.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament. We're going to be talking about Derry for not only this year but years to come. But it's a testament to kind of their training that him and I think of a guy like Anthony Mucci, who we'll talk about here in a minute. Same thing, man. Just staple of the lineup, senior, tough as nails, and really just I know he won a WPIAL championship last year, but man, he's leveled up this year. So yeah, I agree 100%. All right. 133. As much as I love my man Anthony Mucci, it's Mr. Forrest and everyone else here.
Yeah.
And we'll see if he can get off the Chennai, because last year, of course, he did not capture the Southwest Regional title. So, and he's, I love that he jokes about that all the time. Like, he puts his accomplishments second at Southwest Region double A there. So hopefully he gets it done this week, or we'll see what happens. I'm assuming you will.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident he's going to win this weight. The match I'm looking forward to is the semi on the bottom with Mucci and Judice of Bald Eagle. I do think that those two will meet in the semis, and I think that is one hell of a match. In the semis there, Judice was the runner-up to Forrest in District 6. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think McClure gets to the semis from Bentworth. I actually have I don't have it written in my brackets, but Carter Caddis of Burgettstown, don't be surprised if he wins that first round matchup. That's one I really looked at. I would not be surprised if you see Caddis over Horvanek of Conemaugh Township in the first round. That's one I'm circling. I could eat crow next week, but I'll throw that one out there. That's upset potential right there.
I got to throw this on the screen, see if it works here. Check us out.
I don't see anything.
You see it on the screen?
Oh, Jake Cherry. Yeah. Jake Cherry is I was going to bring him on at one point. Cherry, a pit wrestling teammate of my sister's boyfriend. He's an assistant wrestling coach at Central Dauphin right now. A great kid. Has all the info on District 3. They're not quite what the WPIAL is. I'd have to throw that out there to throw a little shade towards him. But all in all, Cherry is a great kid.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for that. That was good. But yeah, so you're looking at 133 here, Kaz. I agree. I mean, you know, he got Forrest, but I really like Mucci here. And you think Burgettstown, Mr. Cack has a good chance to get a dub here in the first round?
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I'm just gonna put my initials
Stamp
on
it, baby. Come on.
I'm just putting my initials on it.
Let's go.
Yeah, I just got a feeling. I think a lot of the times, nothing against District 5. When you don't, it's tough for me to have when I don't see a Chestnut Ridge kid finishing first or second in District 5. And I could be completely wrong. I just naturally goes to my head, it's not as strong. Just because I'm used to the Chestnut Ridge. And there isn't a Chestnut Ridge kid in this bracket. I haven't seen Valentine. I saw Valentine at, I believe it was Southmoreland. I got a feeling.
All right.
Give me Caddis over Horvanek in the first round.
Yeah, baby.
Calling that.
All right. Anything? How many you see making it out of the whip here, getting to the States?
I think McClure and Mucci for sure. I think Stewart out of Burrow has a very good shot. I think he's in a really good spot in the bracket. I think he has a better than odds chance to make it out here. And then Emmett Wolf and Caddis both have good shots. If Caddis wins that first one, I think he has a really good shot to make it through. The one thing that was kind of tough for me, I really like Mason Wright at best center. I think he's really good. I just think his draw was it was a tough spot for him to get put in. Not saying he's not going to make it out. I just think he got put in a tough spot here. But 2 for sure, and I think Stewart has a really, really good shot as well. And then Wolf and who else? Caddis.
Yep.
I'm not going to count them out either.
Like it. All right, 139. You look at this way here. I mean, Lucas Barr, the 1 seed out of the WPIAL, he's been fantastic all year for McGuffey. But you got Eli Herring down there, who's one of the best guys in the country. I don't know. He's at least top 15, top 10, I want to say, Kaz.
Yeah, another one of those ones where, on paper, Herring is the 1 seed. Unfortunately, he was injured last year for postseason. Kid I feel bad for. I shouldn't say feel bad for, but he's had a rough go in the postseason. 2 years ago was when they were ineligible for postseason, and then last year he was really banged up and didn't get to wrestle. So he hasn't wrestled in an individual postseason yet. And he's been one of the best kids in the state and the country. He's a junior the first 2 years, and now his third year. So it's nice to see Herring on the mat for individuals because we haven't got to see it the past few years. But I think he's definitely the favorite here. And I think I expect him to win this bracket as well. I think we get 2 WPIAL guys to the semis.
I was just going to say the WPIAL's kind of sneaky here because, I love me some Matt Dana. Bertucci's solid. There's guys here. Clem, of course, are from Derry. There's guys that can make runs that obviously have capabilities for upsets.
Completely agree. And just the way the bracket falls, there's going to be some head-to-head WPIAL matches in that, Concy round of 3 where I think both of them can make the state tournament or good enough to be in the state tournament, but they're going to run into each other based off a bracket setup. But I have Barr and Bertucci in the semis, both going to states. And then, Dana and Burford and Clem, they're all really good. Clem, I believe, took 6th in this weight. Emilio North Catholic took 5th. Another name that I will not count out of this bracket as well. I agree with you, Donnie. This is a sneaky weight for the WPIAL. I think they're absolutely getting 2 or 3 in a really good shot for 3 or 4.
And you look back kind of at the way the WPIAL fell. Dana was the 2 seed. He failed to make the finals. He lost on a close one to Bertucci. Bertucci came out of the 3 seed, made the finals. Barr looked fantastic the whole way down. It's just like you said, there's a lot of depth here for the WPIAL. I'll give a little spot here, kind of what I'm looking at here. Oh, weird, not sharing screen. Okay, so we'll do this one. Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
This was a fun wait last week.
It was. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I liked, and we talked about that on the preview. It was going to be really solid, and just how you break it down from there to there, I enjoyed it. Okay, back over here. Bingo. All right. 145, Kaz. Mr. Bo Bassett at the top, of course. We're going to obviously assume he's going to take care of business, but, the WPIAL's got some guys here that I expect to, punch their ticket to the state tournament. One of them being Mr. Leahy. Okay, buddy, go check her out. She's probably upstairs. He's playing hide and seek with Nana. Nana's over hanging out. So if you guys heard that, that was NJ. But yeah, so break down 145 for me, Cass.
45, obviously, Bo Bassett is Bo Bassett. There's not really much else to say. As far as that, there's a lot more to say, but, Bassett's going to win this weight. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. Who he gets in the finals is a very good conversation. He's beaten Garshnick 2 or 3 times this year, being in the same district. But Lucas Boyer is damn good. I think we'll see Garshnick and Boyer in the semis against each other, a match that I'm really looking forward to, one that I kind of have circled. Yeah, I think it could go either way. I've seen both of them wrestle a lot.
I love me some Luke Boyer, man.
He's so good, and he's so good on top. He'll tilt you from anywhere. Really like him. And
what we always say, that top game, man, that travels. It's like a good defense in football, dude. That travels, man.
Big, huge in the postseason, and Garshnick is just good everywhere. Watched him beat Louis Gill last year at the Brookville Duels. He's just a tough, hard-nosed kid out of United. You don't hear much from United, but every year, him and Gideon Bracken in the previous weight, they're always tough. But from a WPIAL standpoint, I think Boyer definitely makes it through. I think he has a really good shot. I think Leahy of Knock has a really good shot to make it out. I think Leahy will make it out as well. And then you get into that next tier, a couple guys that I have circled from the WPIAL with Torkowitz of Mount Pleasant, Crawford of Burrow and Perkins of Valley, and Patton of Washington. Just how the bracket's going to fall. Some of them are going to meet at some point in the bracket before place bouts. It's just where and when and who based off when they win and lose. So I would say those two are Leahy and Boyer, I think, are definitely going to get through. And then I could see probably 2 of those 4 that I named getting through as well.
I knew you were going to name me some Torkowitz. You love that name. It's a good one.
And I just have to throw this out there.
Shoot it.
For any of you who want to see points, go back on Flow Arena and watch the Concy semis match between Caleb Crawford of Burrell and Caleb Patton of Washington. It was 18-18 going into sudden victory. Patton ended up winning 21-18. Patton was up 15-2, 16-2, close to a tech. And Crawford just went thump, fireman, dump, and ties it at 18, down like 16-2. It was absolutely insane. I talked to the Burrell coaches, and they were like, we had no idea what was going on. Like, it was just wild. And then Kyle Klein, the Washington coach, the next day was like, dude, did you see that match? I was like, I wasn't there for it, but I went back and rewatched it. It was incredible. Do yourselves a favor and go watch that match, because it was just a points frenzy, and both of those kids just let it all on the line. So credit to Patton and Crawford on that. That was a freaking awesome match, and there was about 10 other ones I could have named at AA too.
All right, Kaz, let me pull up that box score. I'm sorry. That was where at, Kaz? The Conti semis of 145.
Yeah.
see here, buddy. Right here, 21-18.
Sudden victory. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The box score in Flow Arena is incredible. It's just points and a 10-second break point. It was absolutely incredible.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. There you go. Yeah. Go back and check that out. All right. So where are we at, Kaz?
152.
Yeah.
I really like the WPIAL in this weight.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, headlined by Mr. Mason Horwath, the dairy sophomore stud. Magro at the top, of course, from McCourt. These McCourt boys, you gotta assume that they're the favorite, but I'd like to see Horwath. I think he's gonna give him a go, man. I really do.
I do too, and I expect those two to be in the finals. Horwath and Magro. I think Erdley will have something to say in the potential semi with Magro, although Horwath, had a pretty impressive win over Erdley in the WPIAL finals. But I think Erdley and Magro could be interesting. I think Magro wins though. But after that, I see, I think Erdley and Zanella are both going to be in this. I have three of the WPIAL guys in the semis. I have Horwath, Zanella, and Erdley all in the semis here. I think Zanella and Erdley will wrestle for third and fourth. Looking at the bracket, and I think McCrae's going to make it through to the state tournament. And I think Noyes, looking at the bracket out of Burgettstown, is going to make it through to the state tournament. So I see 5 WPIAL guys, making it here. I think Horwath, Zanella, Erdley, McCrae, and Noyes all make the state tournament in this weight. It was tough to see the Jack Dimert injury at WPIAL's.
No doubt.
I was.
What happened there, Cass? Because I got a couple texts about that. Do you know?
I don't know exactly what is wrong, but I was Matt's side when it happened, and his knee got put in a really funky spot, and he was visibly in pain. He limped off the mat. I mean, he wasn't
tough kid.
Carted out. Yeah, very tough kid. Wasn't carted out or anything. It sounded like he was trying to give it a go after that, but it was a little nasty. There was some awkward pressure on that knee, which is a shame because he is a senior. I know he's going to W&J to play football, so his athletic career is not over. But that was tough to see because I would have liked to see him in this bracket because he would have made it through the WPIAL bracket and he would have had an answer in this bracket somewhere. So feel bad for him. Would have liked to seen him be able to get through, but unfortunately, he had that injury that took that away. But credit to him. He had a great career.
How many think get out of here, Cass?
5.
5, baby. Love it. All right. 160, brother. You look at this weight class. Melvin Miller, number 1 kid in the country, dog. But man, the WPIAL, and we talked about it. It was going to be a dog fight, and it was. We got to dive into a little bit of that recap as we talk about this West Regional.
This weight's awesome.
Yep. So Gabe Lilly was the 1 seed, ended up taking 4th. Oven Ivsick was the 2 seed, ended up taking 1st. You had Palco, the freshman from Jefferson Morgan, who we've talked about all year, that was sneaky, ended up taking 3rd. Cheney Lewis and Ivsick was a complete mess in the semifinals. I was getting tweeted about that. Fantastic weight, man.
Yeah, that Lewis Ivchik match, like you said, was just an absolute mess in a good way. That that mess adjective is a positive there. That match 100%. Was another one of those matches. Go back and watch it. Cheney Lewis.
Let's look at this box score, dude.
It was wild.
I mean, so he got an escape and then a takedown at the end there. So, I mean, Ivsick needed a takedown with 6 seconds left to get the win.
Yes.
I mean, it looked like he did some catch and release there in the third.
In that second period, that takedown and near fall for Lewis.
Yep.
Ivchik was millimeters from being pinned.
Wow.
Lewis went double underhooks, and as Smitty would say, went frequent flyer miles. And he had Ivchik dead to rights, and he fought his ass off to get off his back. And he ends up bringing out the match. But Cheney, Lewis, and I've coached football for a number of years now. I've been around wrestling. Cheney Lewis, as a freshman, is one of the most explosive athletes I've seen as a freshman in high school in the WPIAL in any sport. Not the most explosive, but he's one of them. He is as explosive as I've seen as a freshman. It is absolutely incredible.
He was wrestling, I want to say it was Braden Collins or one of the Collins brothers from Cannon Mac in the finals at the Southwest Junior High Regional last year. I was on the call with Smitty. He hit the freaking flying squirrel over him in the third period. And I was like, dude, what? Like, freak. So, yeah, I mean, and you know, obviously Mr. Palco is a super tough freshman. He was fantastic last year. I saw him in the same tournament. This weight is, you know, obviously these guys are smaller, or not smaller, they're middleweights now. They're going to grow into bigger guys, I'd assume. So, you know, the future's bright for, you know, some bigger guys.
And you had a lot of, I'm not calling them upsets, but you had a lot of decisions that were flipped from the previous week. You know, Salashi beat Palco in the quarters last week, but at sections, Palco got the better of Salashi. And then if you go, can you click on the Consi side of this bracket, Donnie? If you look at the Consi side of this bracket towards the end, Olsen had beat Catullo at sections. Catullo flips that result and beats Olsen. And then Catullo and Lewis had wrestled for 5th and 6th. Lewis beat Catullo. Catullo was winning a lot of the match, but Lewis has a win over Catullo earlier in the year, and it was razor tight, really good match. So we saw a lot of flipped results here, and I want to give credit to Palco and Jefferson Morgan, the other freshman, because he lost in the quarters to a kid he had beat the previous week. And for a freshman, that can be tough headspace. First real big tournament at the high school level. And he comes back and takes third. And in doing that, he also beat the kid who was the 1 seed in the bracket for 3rd and 4th. So I think that shows a lot of character, especially for a young freshman in Palco from Jefferson Morgan. You're muted, D-Hall.
Dang. 172, Kaz.
And I think six WPIAL guys are getting out of this. I don't think anyone from District 5 is getting out.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I think it's Melvin Miller and 5 WPIAL guys. 6 WPIAL guys.
All right. 172, Kaz. Jackson Angelo wins the WPIAL there, gets the 1 seed. You look up and down this weight, I think that he has a great chance to not only, you know, place, but make the finals.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in saying I expect an all WPIAL final here with Angelo and Lisinski.
Like it.
Masood of Tussey Mountain down to 2 seed. Lisinski already has a win over him this year. A match that Lisinski completely controlled and handled the whole time at Bedford. So I expect to see round 4 of Lisinski and Angelo in the finals here. I think Marcus Ritchie has a really good shot to get to the semis from Quaker Valley in the spot he's in. And another potential upset, similar to what I said at 27 or 21. What was that with Caddis?
Yeah.
Watch the Delara O'Farrell match in the first round. I think that's a sneaky match there. Delara could pull that one out. Not as confident in it as what I had about the Caddis one, but that's one to keep your eyes on. If that happens, I wouldn't be surprised. Lehew's in a pretty decent spot. I think he's going to get us through his first round matchup. But I think Angelo Lisinski are definitely getting through. I think Richie is going to get through as well. And then I think Delara has a better than odd shot with where he's at in the bracket. And Leahy has a very good shot as well.
I like it. 189, Kaz. So
we had a change in this bracket. So Jake Mundorf out of Ligonier Valley, who was the 2 seed at WPIALs, he had to default to 6th place. He is not able to continue wrestling, so he is out of the bracket. Bryce Metz of Avonworth, who was the 7th place, moves up to the 6th place spot. Dominic Wills was 7-7, and he moves up, and then we added a new wrestler in this weight. So Mundorf is out here, unfortunately. So I really like the semis that we're going to see, and I can confidently say we're going to see Kyle Scott and Brady Brown on the semis on the bottom half here. And I believe they wrestled earlier this year. I think Scott had beat him at Fred Bell, maybe. Is Fred Bell's the Grips? It's Fred Bell or Ultimate Warrior, something like that. And it was a close match, I believe. So I'm really looking forward to that potential match of Kyle Scott and Brady Brown, because Brady Brown is really freaking good, and so is Kyle Scott. I think close, kind of, I'm not going to say walks to the finals, but I don't see him really being in a position to lose on that top side of the bracket. But I think the WPIAL can do well here. Brown's going to make it through. Can fully say that. And then I feel like it's some of the other weights we talked about. You can just throw Zeshawn Williams.
Oh,
Slayton
I remember.
Williams.
This is the weight that you gotta. Someone was tweeting at you about this weight. Talk to me about that, brother.
Yeah. So Matt, well, they were talking about, and I can't remember who was tweeting.
It was a Freedom Boy. I don't remember who was tweeting. I'll look up the tweet, but
I completely understand his theory in this. So for those of you who don't know, at the WPIAL tournament, if you medical forfeit out to 6th place, there's a policy in place where whoever gets 5th place, they have the option, once the bracket comes out, to look at it and choose, do they want to stay in the 5th place spot, or do they actually want to take the 6th place spot and wrestle from there in the bracket, because it's predetermined and it could benefit you from being 6th compared to 5th. That happened, and the wrestler switched his spot, which is rightfully so. I would do the exact same thing if it were my wrestler. You do what's best for your wrestler. But that, and I believe that rule's in place to kind of deter people from medical forfeiting on purpose to get a better spot. So they penalize you for it. But when Mundorf actually had to pull out of the tournament, and he was actually, and I knew he was actually hurt, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't medical forfeit. That's not how they would go about that. He actually is hurt. The guy who tweeted his comment was, well, since he technically was hurt, does the rule go back to being they go to their original spots? Obviously, it's not. I agree with how the rule is. I think it's a good rule. And I wasn't disagreeing with the guy who was tweeting it. I understood what he was saying, and he made very good points. But at the end of the day, and Donnie, I know you'll agree, you've coached before, you have your hands in it. You do what's best for your wrestler at that point. If what's best for your wrestler is
every
to
single
take
time,
if the best thing for that kid is to enter in the 6th place spot as the 5th place representative, then you do it. Your goal is to get that kid as far as he can, and if that's the best opportunity, you do it. And I think every coach in the WPIAL would agree with me on that. I know you agree on me, so I'm good on that. You'll never hear me say a word. I'd encourage it.
All right. I like it.
Oh, and Malachi Peak and Wyatt Markovich was the best match that I saw at AA on Friday. It was absolutely incredible, and then they wrestled for 3rd and 4th. I hope they wrestle this week, because their 2 matches were both absolute fireworks. So keep an eye out. Malachi Peak and Wyatt Markovich. If they wrestle, tune in.
215. And you look at this way here, Kaz. Love me some Braden Welsh from Fort Cherry, the senior, 41 on the year. I just think that he's gonna get it done. But I could see Luke Boylan, doing some damage here, finding his way to states. There's some guys here for the WPIAL, no doubt. Suter, I talked about. I picked. I think we both talked about. He had a great shot to make the finals, and he made it. And this is a solid weight.
And what was impressive about Suter's run to the finals was Suter took third in his section, and on his way to the finals, he had beaten the section champ in his weight and the section runner-up leading into that. That's what was even more impressive to me, that he avenged 2 losses from the week before. Well, 1 loss. He had wrestled, I think it was Bressinger in the semis last week. Yes. But I believe he lost to Carlson earlier in the year. So yes, that was impressive. Kudos to Suter for that. Welsh, I think Welsh is the favorite here. On the bottom side, I think there's a number of names that I could see Hagen's there. I could see Erdman there. Carlson, I could see there. Erdman's a behemoth. Have you seen him? He's built like an NFL linebacker.
Love it.
He's fun to watch wrestle. There's a pretty cool dynamic with some of these kids with Hagens, Erdman, and Boylan, Stuchel. They've all wrestled in the same tournament at one time before. At Bedford, where Hagens was the champ, Boylan was second, and Erdman was third at Bedford. I think it's interesting how this is going to play out, but I think Welsh gets through. I think Boylan gets through. And I think Caden Shannon of Southmoreland is in a really good spot to get through as well. I'm not going to count out Carlson, Suter, or Bressinger, by any means. But the way the bracket fell, looking at the backside, I think at some point, Carlson, Suter, Bressinger, one of them are going to meet each other before the place bouts, and they've all beaten each other. It's kind of all gone back and forth. They're like crapshoot matches. But I think Boylan's in a spot where he can get out. Same with Shannon and Welsh. And it's funny, they're all 3 on the top side of the bracket. I have Boylan and Shannon meeting in the quarterfinals of this weight. And I think we see 2 WPIAL guys up top, obviously, if Welsh is there and they're meeting. I think Boylan and Welsh are going to meet in the semis. And Hagens and Erdman down low in that semi. But I think Shannon will wrestle back in medal here and punch his way to states. And I think Suter's in a good spot to do that as well.
All right. Last but not least, the big boys. And I think I'm going to pull up the WPIAL here, because that was a fun weight.
Lot of guys here. Guys here.
So you pull, Colin White gets it done from West Green. Barbish, the 2 seed, comes in and takes second. But, the rest of the weight here, there's guys all the way even down to Teddy Gray. I thought even Aiden Kuhn had a really good chance to make it. But ultimately, man, this is a pretty deep weight for the WPIAL.
Yeah, it is. That WPIAL final with Barbish and White. White was controlling it. Barbish had got a takedown. He locked the cradle up. And I don't know how it's possible to lock a cradle up around Colin White. I
was just going to say that. He's huge.
It was that second period takedown. He ran out of time. He still had the cradle locked up. He just couldn't get him over, and he was damn close. It's tough to cradle Colin White, but Barbish is 6'4", going to play Division I football. He's an athlete. And that it got real interesting when he had that cradle locked up. But I think both of these kids are going to make it out. I think they're both in good spots. I think White makes it to the finals against Rowan Holmes. which would be a rematch. They wrestled in the Bedford finals. McCoy and White in the semis. I think that's a pretty good match. McCoy at West One Hilltop. I actually got to see him wrestle Holmes in the Southmoreland finals. But I think White makes it out. I think Barbish makes it out. I think Casey Wilson of Laurel has a really good shot to make it out of here as well. And I won't count out Alex Rizilko of Bentworth. I think he's in a pretty decent spot to make it out here. But Holmes is definitely the favorite in this weight. He has a win. He already has wins over the 2 and 3 seed here. So I don't know who his loss is to this year.
Who? Holmes?
Holmes. He has one loss. I'm not sure who that is to.
HOLMS?
Yes. But he's definitely the favorite, and I'm picking Holmes to win this weight.
Yep.
With some pretty good confidence behind it as well. But the size of Colin White can pose an issue for a lot of people because he's just a big old boy, and he's strong as a freaking on.
The first match of the year, he lost to Caleb Rodriguez from Bishop McCourt. He got pinned at the end of the match, 5:57. That was
really
12/4/24. So would that have been Iron Man?
No, that would have been Somerset. Doesn't go. What was it? 12/24.
No, that wouldn't have been Iron Man. You're right, Somerset. That's just a duel. It looks like. Yep.
12/24 would have been. They
Just
wrestled Christmas Eve.
I'm sorry, 12/4.
Oh, I thought you said 24.
I might have.
Maybe it's just first
match.
And
first
there's
match.
no
Yeah,
other.
that was
There's
the only
no
one.
other. There's no other matches of those dates.
No, I should hold on.
So then, yeah, it was just a duel.
All right, hold on. Bingo. That's it. There was the result. So that was it.
Yeah.
He got pinned at the end of the match. But other than that, you go
Other
back.
than that, he's 37-0.
Yes, hasn't lost since. So
See a lot of pins there.
yeah, he's kind of on. He's on.
So
here.
Scroll down a little bit. So he pinned McCoy in 4:14. McCoy's the 3 seed. Then he has Holmes has a win over Shep Turk this year. I didn't realize that.
That's impressive. Where's that at? That would have had to have been at
111. 111. That's midwinter.
Yep.
I didn't
He's
realize
got juice.
I didn't know. And then he has 2 wins over McCoy. And then scroll down a little bit more. I want to see his Colin White score from the Bedford finals. 7-0. Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize he had a win over Turk this year. That's impressive. Because Turk's, we know who Chef Turk is.
No doubt. All right, brother. Let's see here. This. All right. Before we switch over to AAA, we got to give another love to our sponsors. Mike Smith over at Smitty's Corner Rugs, smittyscornerrugs.com. You see him up in the right-hand corner. We'll see his corner rugs over at Powerade. We'll see him at the West Regional this weekend. My man, Mike Smith, thank you for the love and support. D1 Wrestling Club at d1wrestling.com. That's Mr. James Fleming, one of the best in the business to ever strap it up in the WPIAL. Thank you for the love and support. Of course, down there in Jefferson Hills, Pennsylvania, doing really big things, producing some, fantastic wrestlers. And I love the mindset of the kids that are coming out of that club as well. So that's definitely one to check out down in the lower part of Pittsburgh there. Jim Akerley, of course, the legendary Quest School of Wrestling at questwrestling.com. Been doing it for years and years and years. I'm so honored that he wanted to be a part of the podcast and sponsor us. And, again, one of my favorite interviews of all time. Go check it out. My Jim Akerley interview back in the archives. So, again, check that out. And last but not least, Chris Cars over at Switch Custom Apparel was able to hand out some T-shirts. to some coaches and some wrestlers this weekend. And that was all thanks to my main man, Chris Cars, over at Switch Custom Apparel. All right, Kaz. Now we're into
Switch Custom Apparel. I'll tell you,
this is perfect, buddy.
Chris,
I'm going to send this over. That's good. Okay, cool.
Chris
Go ahead.
Carter's just to reiterate that, for back-to-back years, he got me all my gear for Stand Your Ground. For the wrestlers, for me to sell, to give out. He did all of my gear for me. I still wear it today. The gear is top of the line, from workout shorts to T-shirts to, hooded short sleeves. I mean, he did it all. Hats. He does a hell of a job with that. So yeah, check out Switch Custom Apparels. Does a great job with all this stuff, and I literally gave.
He does everything, dude. He's doing a golf bag for me. I just got a brand new golf bag at the golf show this weekend over in Monroeville. He's gonna put my Yinzer logo on it, put my name on it. He does it all, dude.
I got in a bind with stuff I had to get, and you gave me his number. I literally called him on like a Wednesday. It's like, I need 300 pieces by Saturday. I don't know if you can do it. I'll pay what you need to pay. He's like, dude, done. So I got on a Wednesday. I drove out there on like Friday morning, and he was like, here, it's all here. Had it all done exactly how I wanted it. Can't beat it.
Yes, sir. He is the best. All right, dude.
Now, what did you go to high school with him?
So he's a West A boy, but he's older than me. So he's like, he would have been like the Kyle Martin like age, like because he wrestled with like Marcetti, like that, like 2004, 2005, like the kids that are just now getting into high school. That's like his age, the parents. So, but yeah, he was a great wrestler for West A back in the day. His dad was my science teacher, and like literally one of the best. You know how you have one of those teachers that are like, kind of like teaches you without even teaching you and makes it fun. And that was Mr. Cars. He was my 8th grade science teacher. One of the few classes that I actually enjoyed in high school. So shout out Mr. Cars. Definitely the best. So, oh, buddy. So I sent that little emo over. So if he comes on, that'll be sweet. But before that, let's see here, Kaz.
Triple A is gonna be fun.
I know, dude, and I think I got to take like 2 seconds just to make sure my kids and everything are all squared, and then we will come back. Let's see here. And like I said, if Jake comes on, that'll be a perfect.
Cherry should be hopping on here momentarily, but
so what's his deal? He's from the middle of the state, District 3, Central Dolphin. So what do you live with? Wenzel.
Him and Wenzel were teammates at Pitt their whole careers. Cherry's wrestled at Central Dauphin. Coaches there now. Diehard Pitt guy. Pitt wrestlers 33 and 41 pounder for Pitt through his career.
I sent you that link if you want to send it over to him on his phone.
And now he's back at back coaching at CD, working back out in Harrisburg.
Love that.
Right.
Holmes is going to
Lehigh. I think Cherry. I believe Cherry is in.
Okay, hold on. He's down here. I can't see him. There he is. There he is. My fault, Jake Cherry.
What's good, guys?
What's going on, man?
Appreciate you having me on. I'm just here to, protect District 3's name.
Go ahead. Slap it up there with Kaz. I'll be right back, boys.
Yeah. Came in to watch some scouting reports for my boys next weekend.
Where are your regional tournament? Where's your regional tournament at? Because your District 3 is just your region, right?
We had it last weekend.
Oh, you guys are off this weekend?
Yeah. Down at Spring Grove.
I thought the Central Dolphin should be hosting that.
No, Spring Grove has a nice setup. It used to be my first 3 years, and then I don't know if you remember Takedown and Falls, which was like your time. They had a Hershey Park Arena.
Yeah.
Which was sweet setup, like vintage, old hockey arena, perfect for it. 6 mats, both AA and AAA were there. Then my senior year, they moved it to the Giants Center for 1 year.
The regional tournament.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And they made it a 3-day tournament, which 3 day it wasn't necessary for 3 days, and then 2, it felt like all these kids that were making districts say they got to wrestle in the Giants Center without actually earning it.
It's a good point. Good point there.
Yeah, so then because like everyone's chief nowadays, like even the PIAA hosting team states at a high school gym.
Yeah, that was. We had talked about it on here, leading up to team states, and we had a guy, Matt Taylor. He's from District 4 area, like Benton, Line Mountain. He was giving us all kind of stuff from out there. But then we got into the discussion. I know you and I had talked about the kind of the seeding process for the team aspect of District 3, the bracket, and how, once we ran it down, the top 4 seeds all lost. None of them made the semis in your district, correct?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, as soon as we were out of it, I wasn't really paying attention.
Because on paper, I think on paper we had talked, and it seemed like Gettysburg and Wilson Westlawn were maybe the 2 best teams on paper, and they ended up being like the 8 and 9 seed or something.
Yeah, Wilson and Gettysburg were the 2 best team tournament teams.
We're talking about the District 3 seeding their team bracket we talked to leading up to states.
Dude. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, there's no explanation. And from all the coaches, like internally and externally.
So do you guys not have like a committee that takes care of that? Or is it just like the general district that does it?
It's the district has the same power ranking formula. It's like 55% of your win percentage plus 45% of your combined opponent's winning percentage. But it's the same for every sport. So like in the Mid-Penn, which is our league, we have State College, a good team. Gettysburg, good team. Cumberland Valley, usually a good team. Central Dauphin, good team. And like Mifflin County, good team. We got travel to Mifflin County. We had 3-hour-long trips this year just for our conference matches. And there's 4 divisions in the conference, and then you have like all these other teams, like Lancaster, Lebanon. They wrestle no one. Berks County wrestles no one. So it made sense when you had when Central Dauphin was winning the state titles, they'd be 16-0. When Cumberland Valley was in the finals when I was in high school, I think in 2015 or 2016, when you have 2 teams that are really good and undefeated. But now everyone's in our same conference division. We're just taking each other out, and then you have the top 4 teams. Hershey hosted, they lost in the first round, and then I think Northern York hosted a team we beat by almost 20 hosts. They lose in the second round. So all the top 4 seeds didn't even make it out of the first day.
It's just
Jesus.
It's a mess, dude. And unfortunately, I hate the thought process of going out and trying to compete against the best and then getting punished for it and penalized for it. It's hurts my brain.
Yeah, the point I was making to Swags is you all these even conference tournaments at the college level.
What you call him?
Swags.
Oh my goodness gracious! Is that his nickname to you?
Yeah, that's all I've ever called him. I don't think I've said Swaggard one time.
Oh no, my bad. Okay, I thought you were talking about Kaz there. Okay,
oh
you're
no,
talking about Coach. Okay,
yeah.
that's still cool. I was gonna say if you're calling Kaz Swags, we gotta pause.
Yeah, no, we were talking to Coach Swaggart, because he's part of the District 3 coaches committee, and he's trying to get all these rules changed about how they seed, and also we're trying to get the coin flip rule changed somewhere similar to college, but that's another story. But
that's a whole podcast show.
Yeah. So we're every conference tournament, they'll do their initial seeds using computer, and then they'll have humans come in and then seed it hey, we beat this team, we should be higher, or hey, they lost this team that we beat, we should be higher. There's none of that in District 3. And it's somewhat similar for the individual tournament. Ours are seeded at the sectional level. It's by your average points per bout, which is like if you get all pins, it's 6. Your average points per bout would be 6. And then you get your prestige points for wrestling, state champ, or being a state champ, stuff like that. But you can only move up or down one spot. Like we wrestle a tough
Really?
schedule. We had
That's
the highest winning
interesting.
percentage from our opponents in District 3 in AA and AAA, and it wasn't like close. Like our opponents almost won 70% of their matches, which is like that's a tough schedule.
Yeah.
And like all these other
Wow.
teams, like we had a kid make states entering sectionals at 15 and 16, beating 31 kids.
Wow. Yeah, I remember you had sent that to me regarding that. And I talked to, I was talking to Jeff Upson last weekend or over the weekend, and he had told me the same thing. So how many did you guys get through to states?
We had 4, which is about what we expected.
Thunderbeard's got to be one of them, and CJ Free. What is it? Free?
CJ Free. He kind of had a disappointing first day, bounced back the second day. And then we had, at 121, we had Pierce Lemons, who was the 15-16 kid going into sectionals, and then Luch Hitchcock at 33, who qualified for states last year.
So a 15 and 16 wrestler you get at sections heading to state. That's awesome.
He couldn't stop putting kids on their back. It was awesome.
Well, I looked through the brackets and saw that he had beaten like 2 kids that had finished ahead of him in the section or whatever. So it's like, oh shit, the kid went on a little run there.
Yeah, and then there's another problem with how bad referees are at the high school level, at least in District 3.
Jake Cherry, you're gonna suck up all my time. You start getting into those stuff. But listen, brother, I appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us and buffering for a little bit, my friend. But listen, maybe next week or something, we'll have you on, or maybe not next week because you're getting ready for the state tournament. I forgot you're a coach, but I'd love to have you on and get some more District 3 info. I love that stuff, man.
Perfect. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, thank you, Jake.
Later, Chair Bear.
See ya.
Dude, I almost lost it there when I thought he was calling you swags. I was like, listen, hold on a second.
You're called Kaz or Jackass.
Oh man,
depends who you ask.
No, I mean, listen, if swags is the name, I'm not against it. All right, dude, this is some AAA mess. The whole highly controversial. It's been all over Twitter this week. I'm gonna do one tweet saying we're turning to AAA right now. Tune in. So
did you
Kaz,
happen?
Go ahead.
I just had to bring this up. I have to give him a shout out. I don't know. Did you run into Mac Miller's uncle at AAA on Friday or Saturday? I talked to him for about 10-15 minutes.
I didn't talk to him that long. If I did see him, I'd give him a nux. But he's an all-timer, dude.
He's always tuned in. Watched him, talk to him for about 10 or 15 minutes on Saturday. Always nice catching up with him. He's always been big supporters, of us and everything. And obviously we're, big fans of him and his nephew Mac. So it was great to catch up with him. He's one of the good guys in the sport. So always good catching up, and I look forward to seeing him, tomorrow and Saturday at Cannon Mac again.
As always. And it's fans like that. I don't even want to call them fans, just like, acquaintances, because we're fans, and that's all we are, is just fans that like to talk into a microphone, and some people like to listen. But man, 107 all year, it's been a mess, and it's not going to stop this weekend.
Absolutely not. I got 4 WPIAL guys in the semis.
So and
this ain't the last wait.
In the interest of time, we'll just get it out of the way. The brackets are a mess. They're not seeded. There's the city kids. There's a lot of bad records. It is what it is. Now, my take. I've been really saving in, and obviously I don't agree with the biggest thing for me is I don't like that they didn't seed the bracket. Hate that. Okay. Number one. Number two, for me, other than it's an extra weekend, I'd like to cut off sections if possible in the beginning of the year, because I don't think that these kids should have to do four weekends in a row, 4 weigh-ins. Same thing with double A. I don't understand like how you guys have been doing it for so long. Now that we're involved in it, I don't like it. I don't want no parts of it. So I think that needs like just 8 weigh-ins for these kids is a lot. If they make it to the state, the end of the state championships there. But the last thought I'll have is for the WPIAL, this West Regional is not a bad thing. Just the fact that we get 7 kids, there's 3 city league kids, and then obviously you have to deal with some of the better kids in the middle of the state. But you give me 7 kids out of we'll give maybe one good city school kid. I like our odds basically. If you do the math, you were doing some of the math. I'm just saying I like our odds to get 4 or 5 at almost every weight.
Yes, all in all, I like the regional. I know a lot of people said, "Oh, it's a lot of wrestling," and I get that. I've grew up in more of a double A environment, and that's all I've ever known is the 4 weeks of the postseason. So I don't look at that as much of an issue. But again, that's just what I've always been accustomed to. I've always been accustomed to that. That's really all I knew growing up. It needs to be seeded. And I think it needs to be reworked, how many entries in that. And it's the first year, and I think it's more of not a trial and error. Like, I think it's here to stay. But I think you'll see some adjustments on the formula of seeding it, who gets in. I have a hard time thinking they're going to seed it because, the double A regional Southwest isn't seeded. So I think that's staying there. But the end result, I completely agree with you, Donnie. It's giving 5 qualifiers, and that's giving the WPIAL kids and the Pittsburgh City League kids who feel like WPIAL kids just because they're in our backyard. They're giving them an extra spot to get to states. And that's the one thing you and I and just about everybody involved with AAA wrestling and WPIAL has been literally begging for 20 years. Can we please get more qualifiers? The WPIAL getting 3 qualifiers out of AAA or 4 qualifiers out of AAA is maybe the biggest disservice to wrestling in the state of Pennsylvania. And we've talked about this for hours. So this regional giving a 5th opportunity, I think it's really good, and I'm glad. And getting 7 WPIAL guys here, it's giving – if they take 4, it's giving 3 extra guys an extra week to wrestle and 3 extra guys an opportunity to make it to states. And I think there are some weights where the WPIAL is going to get 5. So in that aspect, I'm 100% on board with it. I like it. I like the AAA regional. I just think there needs to be some adjustments with it. But the end result to me is get the most you can to Hershey out of the WPIAL. And this gives the WPIAL the best opportunity to do that. So I agree. I like it. I do.
I agree. Beggars can't be choosers, I guess, as they say. All right, buddy. These were a mess. Like we said off the top, we did a little soliloquy. I knew we were going to do a little 15-minute there, but we got through it. That's all we're going to talk about that for the rest of the night. We're going to break down our picks and predictions. All right, bud. 107 here. I'm staying. I got McGarity. Ripping it all the way through. I have him winning, but I got 4 WPIAL boys in the semis. That being McGarity, Rehack, Tommy Gretz, and Bo Finnick.
I have the exact same thing. I got those 4 in the semis.
Okay. Now, the backside.
Fun.
The backside was a mess because when you drop down. Like on the top side, I have Ferraro, Thomas, Kinsley, and Johnson all on the top side. And you got Ferraro and Johnson meeting again, which was like the match last week in the Conci semis. I got Johnson winning that again. And then I got Rehack dropping down after losing to McGarity. So I got Johnson going on a big run on the backside and taking third, eventually beating Gretz. Gretz losing to Fennec on the bottom side semi. So I got McGarity over Fennec in the final. So my top 6 being McGarity, Fennec second, Johnson third, Gretz fourth, Rehak fifth. It's my
And
top 5.
Yep, and top 5 are going to be moving on here.
Yep.
I'm pretty similar to you. I think McGarity's the champ. Same thing. I have McGarity and Fennec in the finals. Fennec and Gretz in the semis. I'm pretty confident that's going to happen. This will be the 5th or 6th time they've wrestled this year. It's back and forth. Throw their names, toss up match every time. But I have this same 5 advancing. I have McGarity, Gretz, Fennec, Rehak, and Johnson, just in a different order. I think looking at my bracket, I have Johnson or Rehak dropping down in the Concy semis to wrestle Johnson, and I have Rehak over that, but I have Johnson taking 5th.
Yep.
In that bracket. So I have the same 5 as you do. All WPIAL boys
All
here.
WPIALs.
And I think guys like Ferraro and Thomas.
I think there's guys at home too that have every right to be here that could be, doing big things. And we'll say that a few times.
Anthony Jones of Shaler isn't in this bracket, and he has a win over the 2 seed. Andrew Alexander in Mifflin County. He has a win over him this year. Gave that kid one of his only 3 losses, and Jones isn't in this bracket because of the depth that was held last weekend.
And the guy that beat him didn't make it either, Nick Savannah.
Yeah. This is a
great weight.
Heavy WPIAL weight.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. Let's go up here. 114. Oh, no, that's this one. Let's get rid of this one so I don't do that again. Bang. All right. All right, Kaz. You want to start this one? I'll let you make your picks first, then I'll go second.
Yeah, this is very interesting. This is really good. And you throw Kapusta in the mix, who we weren't really expecting postseason. At least I wasn't. I didn't think it was going to happen. And now he just made this weight even deeper. Mateo Gallegos of Du Bois, he was in the Powerade finals this year. Really good. Cale Davis doesn't have a ton of matches for State College. Really good. This one was tough. I have Kapusta and Colangelo in the semis up top, and I have Barrett and Gallegos down low in the semis there. I think the WPIAL is going to get 3 guys out here. I think Kapusta, Barrett, and Colangelo all make it out of this weight, as Davis and Gallegos as well. I think those are your top 5 here. I have Klippa of Norwin running a little crazy on the back side of this bracket. It just happens he gets Davis in the first round. I have Davis winning that, but then I have Klippa going just on an absolute run, going back through, and I do have him losing in the 5th and 6th place match. But I think he's one to watch out for on the backside. Unfortunately, I think he's going to be on the backside early in this tournament because of his draw. But then from there, he's going to go on a run and win some matches.
I agree pretty much down to the nuts there. I have him losing the first match, going on a run the backside. I have him taking 5th. So let's get into it. I got at the top side. So did you give your semis? I was all invested in when I was looking.
Yeah, Kapusta, Colangelo, Barrett, Gallegos.
Okay, so I got Kapusta, Colangelo, Barrett, and Frank. So I got Frank's beating Gallegos in the quarters there. I got all WPIAL boys here. I think Frank's just the schedule that they've wrestled all year. I think he's going to get it done. Now I definitely could see Gallegos beating him. I got Gallegos coming all the way back and taking 3rd over Frank's. So he's going to rip it on the backside there. But so I got, and then I'll talk about, I'm staying in the flames. I watch one of my favorite fantasy football podcasts, the Fantasy Footballers. They say it all the time. Stay in the flames. When someone's hot, he's hot. I got Kapusta over Barrett in the finals.
Kapusta's been I mean, he's undefeated. He's wrestled the postseason. Him and Barrett, that was a hell of a finals match last week. Did you go back and watch it?
Yes. So I mean,
Awesome freaking match, man. Those two have wrestled about
put the
14
box score
times
up.
in high school. I think
Let's
it was
put the box score up.
13,
I mean, this is a must.
13, 12 or something.
We're going to talk about this a couple times tonight, Kaz, or at least we've already said it. But this is as we say this, you guys should have a notepad or something out. Just you guys want to watch good wrestling, just go back and watch this stuff. This is why we go out and we love it, because man, you watch matches like this, it's just absolutely incredible. Look at that. Then that's a WPIAL final. Those are two kids that's saying we're going to rip it, and they both did. It was an incredible match.
Yeah, and they live about 6 minutes apart from each other.
Yep.
They've been the same weight all 3 years. They wrestle 5 times a year. It's always goes back and forth. They're gonna wrestle another 2 times this year. That was a hell of a match. Wasn't the best match we saw at AAA. We'll get to that, but it was up there.
It's a good tease, Kaz. It's a good one. All right.
God, was that awesome.
Oh, buddy, I can't wait to talk about it. All right, 121.
121. So Braden Weaver, your 1 seed out of Altoona. I think Weaver wins this weight. I think Leo Joseph does get to the finals, though. One thing we do want to add here, it was released earlier today for those of you looking at the screen. Jakari King of Taylor Alderdice, he's in the 8-3 spot. He is no longer in this bracket. And Michael Warson of Fox Chapel, who took 8th in this weight. Warson is now the replacement. So Warson is going to be in the first round matchup against Landon Krupka, and I have Warson winning that match. And I did get a tweet earlier that Warson has 98 wins.
Oh, hell yeah.
So he is going to be in a good – and I responded to the tweet, well, he's going to get 100 this week because I see him winning at least 2 matches in his bracket.
I do too.
So, good for you. The opportunity arose.
Take care of business
and run with it. He's playing with house money at this point.
There's
playing
nothing
with house money. You got
playing with house money.
Yeah. So Michael Warson in the 8-3 spot. I think Warson and DeSantis are going to wrestle in the first round. I think DeSantis is going to beat Fuller and Meadville. Again, a lot of these District 9-10 records are inflated. I spoke with Jeff Upson a while on this, and just looking at his rankings, a lot of the kids from District 9 and 10, he has 6 or 7 WPIAL kids ranked ahead of them.
Yeah.
And Jeff obviously knows his stuff.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see Warson and DeSantis there. One of them's getting to the semis. But my 5 place winners, I have Weaver, Joseph, and then I have 3 WPIAL guys. I think Bencho's going to get out. I think Rice is going to get out. And maybe it's a surprise to some people. I think the 7-7 Pierce Reinhardt is going to get out. I have him losing his match and wrestling the whole way back. It sets up really nice for him on the backside. And I think Reinhardt's going to win in the 5th and 6th place match.
Buddy.
It's just how it sets up.
We must be telepathic. Yeah, you're right. It is how it sets up. The bracket, it plays out that way.
He has a great look on the backside.
He does, buddy. He does.
Unfortunately, I don't think he can get past Weaver.
No.
I don't think anyone in this bracket.
I think Weaver takes it, right? We both in agreement there, right? So Weaver takes it over Jones in the finals. I think Jones is the other finalist. Now, DeSantis, I think, makes the semis. So I got Weaver, Rice, DeSantis, and Joseph. Now, that Garsuccio and Rice match there in the quarters, I think, is going to be a good one. I have that one circled and highlighted. Now, with that change, the Krupka match there, I had Krupka winning that over King. With King out, I'm going to put Warson winning that one. So he drops down after losing. And I agree. I think he goes on a couple, at least he wins one on the backside. But I have Reinhardt making a run on the backside. I haven't taken 5th. So I have 4 WPIAL boys placing here. So I got Weaver 1st, Joseph 2nd, Rice 3rd, Bencho 4th, Reinhardt 5th. And that the Garsuccio, there's the Conti semis, or it would be like it'd be like the blood round to get to the possible placing match. I mean, I have all 4 WPIAL boys: Reinhardt, Warson, Barsuccio, and Bencho.
In the
So
Concy semis.
So there would be 4 there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
The
Yeah.
blood
Concy
round,
quarter,
pretty much.
Yeah.
So like you need to win that one to potentially have a spot for 5th and 6th.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I got all WPIAL guys.
Yeah.
From
again,
there
like
out, I have all WPIAL.
deep
Yeah.
weight for the WPIAL, and again it was all tight matches. Leah Joseph a little bit out in front on the top side before meeting Nolan Rice. Let's see here. I'll put that up. Bang. There we go.
Rice has wrestled him tough this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's wrestled him real tough.
Look at that. Blood time. Love that, baby. Yeah, man.
Bencho's in a good spot in this bracket. Little West A boys. Speaking of
agree.
West A boys, shout out, Mr. Taylor. Got to talk to him. Haven't seen him in a while. Got to talk to him Saturday. Always great to see my man.
That's my dude.
He's got me some Eddie's Pizzas coming after the season.
Oh, dude. He's I'm due for an Eddie's. I am due for one. I gotta text him. All right. Where are we at here, buddy? 127. I'll go first on this one. So, I guess not too hard. I got Sloboda getting it done all the way through. So Sloboda over Wenner from Cranberry. I saw Wenner a few times. I like him a lot. I think he's pretty good. But I'll just break down the semis and we'll go on the bottom side. So I got Sloboda over Tolliver. I got Tolliver coming out from Ringgold. I think he's in a pretty good spot. I think he's going to make the semis. I got Canali the same way. Now the Canali Declan Barr match, I think could be pretty good one, but I think Canali gets past there. So I got Sloboda, Tolliver, Canali, and Wenner as my semifinalists. On the backside, I got Carter Putt making a run. I think he's going to make a run and go all the way into the 3rd place match against Canali. I think Canali gets him for 3rd though. For Tolliver, I got Tolliver and Coons for 5th and 6th. I got Coons taking 5th there. So I got 1, 2, 3 WPIAL boys out of here. Sloboda 1st, Wenner 2nd, Canali 3rd, Putt 4th, Coons 5th.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've not the same way all of it, but I Sloboda over Wenner in the finals. I think Sloboda's gonna run through. He's not gonna run through Wenner, but
favorite, like we talked about a few times on the double A.
Yeah. And that's no,
And did you see who he's working out with this week? I want to talk about. Yes, you don't have Instagram. You need to get Instagram, Kaz.
No, I don't have Instagram.
I know, but you need to, dude. There's some cool shit on there. Like, I'm sorry for the kids out there, but he was wrestling with Gavin Teasdale. Gavin Teasdale working out with him and Ben Kinney and some of those guys up there.
Okay.
Man, 4-time state champ working out. It's perfect size. It was cool to see them two scrap a little bit. It was really neat.
Sloboda's been incredible. Sloboda has maybe the biggest win of anybody in this tournament last year, beating Landon Sid in the WPIAL finals. That's how good Sloboda is. So yeah, he's the champ here. I think Carter Putt's going to get through. I think Coons. I have Coons of Central Mountain getting through as well, and then Barr. My semis are Wenner and Barr, and then Tolliver and Sloboda. I think Tolliver gets through up top, but I don't have Tolliver making it through. To the state tournament. I think he's going to run into Coons late here, or he'll get Barr. I'm sorry, run into Carter Putt in the Concy semis. The Putt and Wenner is interesting. I think Putt can give him all he can handle, and if Putt wins that, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, if Putt wins it, all bets are off. There's no doubt about it. I mean, if Putt wins it and he's got that mojo, I could see him making the finals. You know what I mean? But Wenner, I like Wenner, man.
If Putt beats Wenner, I think he's in the finals.
And Salah is no joke in the first match.
No, we watched him win Allegheny County.
Yes. Salah's got some juice.
That's not an easy first-round matchup for Wenner.
And I can easily see Salah. I mean, he's got Coons on the backside. I have Coons losing to Sloboda up top. But that Salah Coons match in the first round of the consolations, that can mean either one of them win that. I could see, they have to beat Ruane after that, I think, but I could see, a path there for this weight. It's going to be one you want to watch because I think, I think Sloboda is, the heavy favorite, but there could be a mess. It could be a mess.
Absolutely.
Like
the one thing I'm anxious, the Ruane Barr first round matchup. I got to be honest, I don't know much about Barr. I did some research to look into it. And I think that's a pretty intriguing first round matchup there.
I did too. I actually have that one highlighted too, Kaz. Let's look him up. Barr. What is it? What's his first name? Declan.
Declan from Altoona.
How you spell it? D-E-K?
Yeah, L-A-N.
Yeah. Because I did look that up, and I was like, he had some really interesting results. And Altoona wrestles a really tough schedule. So he lost to Easton Mole twice. Let's see. Luke Lilly. Hold on. Let me pull it up so you can see what I'm seeing. My bad. And add a stage. So you can see, like, he lost to Luke Lilly 7-3. He's got some pretty good wins, like tight losses to Easton Mole, which we talked about him on the AA side. Aiden Coons, but he beat Aiden Coons in the finals last week, it looks like. So
he's lost to Aiden Coons twice, but then he beat him in the finals. He was a close loss to Wenner.
Yep.
And then he lost to Lilly from Connellsville, who's not, in the bracket. I mean, I don't know what that situation was. Daniel Smith was in the postseason at 27 for Connellsville and not Lilly. I don't know if Lilly was injured or was there a wrestle off. I just information I don't have. But
yep,
him and Ruane's going to be a good first round match. I really like that match.
Agreed. All right, buddy. Let's go back over here and here. 133.
God, I might just stamp that and say Ruane.
I like it. Do it. Did I bring? Yeah, I gave them all. Putt, Tolliver. Yep. Okay. All right. 133. A weight that's been awesome all year, dude. So I got. All right. I'll read the semifinalist here. I got Fenella, Yannick, Willichel, and Hartman. I got Fenella and Willichel in the finals, and I got Fenella winning it again, dude. Staying in the flames, committing the pit. I just think he's going to get it done now. Could Willichel beat him? Absolutely. And could Willichel win the next one? Absolutely. But I think they're going to wrestle twice this weekend, next weekend, both of them. So I got those two in the finals. You go down for third and fourth. I got Yannick I got Hartman over Yannick for third and fourth. And then for fifth and sixth, I got AJ Snatchko beating Tantarella. I'm sorry. That one was a tough one. I knew I was going to struggle with that. But they also are the first match. So I think Snatchko gets it twice. I think he beats him in the first match, and I think he beats him for fifth and sixth. So I got all WPIAL boys here.
I'm the same way. I got all five placers here from the WPIAL. My five being Fenella, Yannick, Willichel, Hartman, and Smith, which were the top five at the WPIAL tournament. I think that's all going to hold. Going to see obviously some WPIAL matchups in the second round. I do have Snatchko over Tarantella in the first round, so we're going to see Snatchko and Hartman for probably the third or fourth time this year. Probably wrestled a couple times last year as well. Smith and Willichel, I got them in the second round in the quarters against each other. They've wrestled multiple times. And then on the top side of the bracket, the top side was more kind of clear. I mean, Fenella's going to beat Stediford. I'm pretty confident in Jacobson and Punxsutawney, and then Knable of Mifflin County. But dropping down on the backside, even there, I have a lot of WPIAL guys, even in that kind of Quonset quarter range. I think it's a lot of depth here. But, Fenella, Wilchel, Yannick, Hartman, and Smith. I got the top five from the WPIAL being the top five here. And I did see that today. Oh, you're muted, D-Hall.
My bad. Yeah.
Fenella flipping that commitment because he wasn't he was committed to
He was
Brown, I
Brown.
believe. Yeah. And then he flipped it to Pitt. That's huge for Pitt, man. This
Wow.
kid's a freaking stud.
I'll tell you what, Mickey made the announcement there the other day that he's coming home and going back to the PWC. So, I'm sure 1 + 1 usually equals 2 in most situations there.
Fenella's freaking good, man.
It's really good, dude. Really long. I mean,
He's been like everywhere too. With Indiana's been going up and down. He was in AAA as a freshman, then he was in AA as a sophomore and junior. Now back up to AAA. Him and Putt. Putt's same
Yep.
grade. They've been all over the place.
And they're both dogs. Love watching them go.
Putt's going to wrestle for Vinny D at Seton Hill next year.
Not a bad spot. All right. 139. You want to rip this one, Kaz, and then I'll follow you up?
Yeah, I'll go here. So 39. Similar to the past few weights, I have an all WPIAL semifinal here. I think it's going to be Vilma, Campbell, Ferraro, and Allison. Owen Campbell is on an absolute heater. You and I talked last week. Don't be surprised if he's in the semis. He was in the semis. He was running through, beating people left and right last week. Owen Campbell can beat anybody. And I got him in the semis against Vilma, and I got Ferraro and Allison on the bottom half as well. Got all 4 of them moving on. And then I think, Brocious from Cranberry is going to make it through. I know he took a loss last weekend to Rutan of Punxsutawney, a match that I believe Brocious had won earlier in the year. But I think Brocious makes it out. Brocious Vilma in the quarterfinals is a good match because if Brocious wins his district, he's most likely the 2 seed here.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then that would have kind of said, well, the bracket would have been different. I can't say it would have been Brocious and Allison in the quarters. They would have flipped everywhere. But yeah, I got those 4 WPIAL guys: Vilma, Campbell, Ferraro, Allison. Makes it out as well. I actually have Brocious wrestling Campoli from Altoona for 5th and 6th.
Okay, I got what you're saying there. So that Brocious, I have him. We'll get into it. All right, so I got Kai Vioma. I got the same exact semis as you, buddy. I got Kai Vioma. I got Owen Campbell. I've said it a couple times, but I'm staying in the flames. Owen Campbell proved to everyone that he's ready to go last week. And, man, he wrestled fantastic, taking 4th from the unseated position, just taking out dudes left and right. So give me him to make the semis here again. I got Ferraro and Allison on the bottom side. I got Ferraro getting into the finals. I got Vilma over Campbell on the top side. You go down to the bottom, dude, and this is like we've talked about a few. It's tough. I
have Brocious and Allison wrestling in the Concy semis, which is freaking awesome.
Yeah. I got Mazenko ripping through and coming against Allison in the Concy semis. I think Mazenko is going to make a run.
So do you have Mazenko over Brocious in the 284 match?
The bottom.
Okay, my brackets have the numbers on it. Yeah, it would be the bottom.
See, I didn't have the brackets with the numbers, so I had to sit there and try to figure it out. It took me like twice as long trying to do that. I needed that. Next time you got to send me those. But yeah, so I had him losing there. So I have Allison over Soto for 3rd and 4th, and I got Campbell over Mazenko for 5th and 6th, staying in flames on Campbell, making it to the state tournament.
So read me your 5 again.
Vioma, Ferraro, Allison, Soto, and Campbell, all WPIAL boys.
I like the Soto pick.
Yep. I think the biggest thing with Soto is, it's no secret he's got, heavy shoulder brace on, but kid can go, man. We've talked about it a few times tonight. You're good on top. That travels well. Kid's good on top. I think that, that gives him, a weapon to use here this weekend. All right. 145.
145. This is a match that I've been looking forward to all year. This is Islamov and Perry. Are we going to see it? I think we are. And it's a match that I have wanted to see since the start of the year. And I
Now-
know you're going to agree because you're an Islamov guy, and rightfully so because he's a freaking stud. I'm excited for that, and I think they're both going to be there. I'm almost positive that's going to be good. But before that happens, I have Perry and Chop in the top semi. I have Wenner and Islamov in the bottom semi. Excuse me. I have Higgins coming back and taking third from Bethel Park. I have Chop placing and Islamov. So I got 3 whipping guys. I got Wenner moving through as well. So I have Perry, Higgins, Chop, Islamov, and Wenner as my 5.
Buddy, I got the exact same thing. Perry. But here I got Islamov over Perry in the finals. Give me my man. I just think that, he's just wrestling in the elite level. And, we can't sleep on that Perry Chop semi. Chop has a win over Perry. I'm sure Perry's going to want to, take care of business there, but we can't sleep on that, obviously. So I got Islamov over Perry in the final. But you go down, I got Wenner over Chop for 3rd and 4th. And then I got Higgins over Gall for 5th and 6th. So my 5 are Islamov, Perry, Wenner, Chop, and Higgins. And then the biggest match here, before I'll cut you off, the Firestein, Higgins, Concy, whatever, the round of 16.
Yes.
Whoever wins that, I think is going to go.
I believe Higgins has a win over him this year.
Powerade.
Yep. I don't remember if it was sudden victory or not, but it was either sudden victory or he beat him by 1. I'm almost positive it was sudden victory.
I think it was sudden.
That's a hell of a match. But yeah, a lot of people are looking past the Perry Chop semifinal and don't realize Chop beat him last year, came on our show the week, literally 3 days after, and was like, yeah, just went after it. He made some comment. I can't remember what it was.
They thought they thought he was going to get teched, like his, or something like that. And
someone was like, "Oh, you're going to get teched." He's like, "Yeah, I'll be all right."
Yep.
He went out and beat Perry. Yes, and he went on a run. And obviously, that's in Perry's head. I mean, he remembers that.
Oh yeah.
But like, that's got to be a confidence boost for Chop. Like, he's already beaten him. You got nothing to lose now.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
52.
All right, dude. I'll rip this one. So for the semis, I got Shaw, Swisher, Petrovich, and McMillan. That Swisher Dunlop quarterfinal, I have that one starred. I think that's going to be really interesting. Reed Petrovich is going to be interesting. I like that Reed kid. I think he's really good. I got Petrovich and Shaw in the finals. I got Petrovich over McMillan in the first and the bottom semi. Shaw over Swisher in the top semi. I got Reed coming back and taking 3rd over McMillan, and I got McMillan over Dunlap for 5th and 6th. So my 5 are Shaw, Petrovich, Reed. Sorry, I messed that up. Shaw, Petrovich, Reed, McMillan, and then Dunlap. I have McMillan 4th.
I have the exact same semis as you. I have Shaw over Swisher and Petrovich over Whitbread State College. Looking down on the backside, I have McMillan knocking Reed out in the Concy quarters. Those two have gone back and forth this year. My 5, I have Shaw, Petrovich, Swisher, Whitbread, and McMillan. So I have three WPIAL kids here moving through. I saw Swisher a couple times this year. He's good, not enough to beat Maddox Shaw, but very, very good kid out of Bellefonte. It's kind of a program we've heard of for a long time now. The Shaw Petrovich match at WPIAL's last week.
1-0, right?
Yeah, Petrovich closed the gap a lot from sections. Do you think he has a match in him where he can beat Shaw? Or,
I don't ever count out Connellsville boys, buddy.
I won't either. Maddox Shaw is so good. I know.
And Maddox Shaw I think is the clear favorite.
Yes.
Now would I be surprised? Yes. I'm not picking it, and that's why I think he's going to get it done. But Petrovic, definitely an impressive 1-0. And, Connellsville, they's got good coaches down there. They could definitely change, they could definitely try to change it. Both when you get to this level, all these coaches are fantastic. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They're all, the in-match adjustments, the film beforehand, they know what they're doing. So it's like, it's a chess match out there, no doubt.
Coming off of Shaw beat Petrovic 1-0. If they wrestle in the finals, what would surprise you more? Petrovic beating Shaw or Shaw majoring Petrovic? What would surprise you more?
Petrovic beating Shaw.
I would agree with that.
Good question. All right, 160. I like this weight, buddy. Luke Sipes, one of the the best non-WPIAL boys in the tournament. I think that he's one of the clear-cut favorites here, and I think. Well, all right, let's get into it. I got Sipes in White in the top semi. I got Weaver and Vioma in the bottom semi. I got Sipes beating White on the top. I got Vioma over Weaver setting up that final. I got Sipes winning it. Sipes placing at Powerade. So did Vioma. I think that's a really tight match, and Vioma's wrestling fantastic this year. So I definitely could see Vioma winning, but right now I think Sipes is going to get it done. For third and fourth, I got White over Evans, and for fifth and sixth, I got Costa over Weaver.
I like the Costa pool out of the 7-7. He's beaten almost everybody. I mean, he has wins over so many guys in the WPIAL here. The semis, I have Sipes and White as well on the top side. On the bottom side, I have Lother of Ringgold, wrestling Lonzy. I think it's Sipes and Vioma in the finals. Even though Braden White is so freaking good from TJ, he's still going to make it out. I have Sipes, Vioma, White. I think Brock Evans from Waynesburg is going to make it out of this bracket. He'll get Sipes in the second round or in the quarterfinals. And I think Weaver ends up taking fifth from Belfont here. So I have three WPIL guys, the guys who took top three. But Rooks, keep an eye out for Rook Smith, man. He can beat anybody. He's going to have a tough quarters match with White. But dropping down to the bottom side, Smith can go on a little bit of a run here. I think him and Evans are probably going to meet at some point on the backside. How the bracket looks, and I could see that match going either way. And he's a tough out for anybody,
no doubt. And he's one of those guys I definitely could see making a run. Either don't count him out in the first match either.
Yeah.
All right, where are we at? 172.
72.
Trucking along. One of the, I think, more anticipated potential matchups here. Both ways. I want to see. So I got Cunningham, Hutchinson, Kinsey, and Marlowe as my semifinalists. I got Cunningham over Hutchinson, and I want to see what that matchup looks like, see what Hutchinson has for Cunningham. I don't think it's enough, but I want to see what that looks like. And I got Marlowe over Kinsey. I got Hutchinson coming back and taking third. The two semifinals dropping down, both winning. Kinsey taking fourth. I got Morvay taking fifth, and then I got Morvay and Miller. They're going to match up again to go to the possible fifth and sixth. So that's the round of 16. That how many times we've seen that? 5? I don't know. I don't think Miller's beat him once. I can't pick him now. But if you told me Miller won, to finally get it done, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, so that's my 5. And then for the final, dude, this one's tight. I went back and forth. Ultimately, I went with the WPIAL boy. Give me Bodie Marlowe. I think he gets it done, dude. And I think this is one of the best matchups, for the finals. And I think just the pace that Bodie Marlowe brings, him majoring Hutcherson was really impressive last week. So give me Bodie Marlowe to beat Cunningham.
I doubt they do it, but if Marlowe and Cunningham are in the finals, I think they should start the finals at 189.
I could buy that.
I don't know if they'll do that being a regional tournament, but
Yep.
I'd start them at 89 because to me, of all the potential finals matchups, that would be the best potential finals matchup. So yes, I am with you. Cunningham and Marlowe in the finals. Hutchison moving on, very confident in that. Kinsey moving on out of Armstrong, and Mac Miller as well. I have Miller in Morvay wrestling on the backside. I have Miller winning that. I want to say Morvay's either 5-0 or 6-0 against Miller just this year, and every single match has been by 2 points or less. Sooner or later, Miller's gonna get over the hump, and I think this will be the weekend. It's not like he's getting pinned every time where it's like, okay, you know what's going to happen. They're so close. So go with Miller there. So I got four WPIAL boys here.
I agree, man. All right, 189. You want to rip this one?
Yeah, but before we do that, can we talk about Nez Green, Hunter Snyder semifinals last week?
I'm glad you brought that up, my friend.
You and I were Matt side for it, and we both looked at each other in awe. We didn't know what to say. It was looking back. It was
matches I've seen ever, maybe.
It was the best match I've seen this year, and there's not a close second. And it was one of the best matches I've seen in probably 10 years, maybe the best.
So we asked the table workers. We looked at them, and I don't know. I think it was the next match. Like all hell broke loose. The two kids ran into the table and everything. The clock next to it went out, but they got that settled down. I looked at them and was like, that 89 was that best match you've seen? And they're like, oh yeah.
It was Garrett Volcano. It was Frank's son.
Yeah, Frank's son. And it's like he's watched a lot of wrestling there this year. And for him to say that, and it was, dude, it was. Oh my goodness, back and forth. You think one kid's dead to the world tired. Then they both ripped cradles in double overtime. I mean, it is a must watch. It was unbelievable.
And the one period there where there were no points, the sudden victory, they were in about a 40-second scramble in that where it looked like Green was going to score. Then Snyder comes out. The sudden victory might have been the most entertaining part of that match because it was just a scramble the whole time. And then Green locks up the cradle in tiebreaker 1. You're like, okay, Green's got this. What the hell does Snyder do? He slaps in a cradle in tiebreaker 2. Green bites off his back. It was absolutely insane. The gym was on their feet. The whole gym was on their feet.
But not that 3 count, bro. Didn't get that 3 count. Oh, and it was incredible. So, you get the 1, the 2 count. The whole gym went 2, not 3. I've never heard the 2 for a back call like that. It was incredible, man. And that's a testament to the fans over at Cannon Mac. That was, again, man, that was one of the best matches.
Both of those kids were absolutely, I'm not going to say gassed because gassed means you're out of shape. They were spent just from leaving it out there. It had nothing to do with gas.
31 points.
Yeah, it was.
Oh man!
I went back. You and I watched it live from about 2 feet away. I've watched it about 4 more times.
Incredible,
just because it was awesome. And there's a really good chance they meet again in the semis.
And I have them meeting again in the semis, Kaz.
Yeah, so do I.
All right, so I got Green, Snyder, Stevenson, and Gray. What do you got? I got Green, Snyder, Stevenson, and Gray as my semis.
I have Green, Snyder, Stevenson, and Gray. Yeah, I have the same thing.
Oh, boy. So that Gray Hoare match, I think, is fire.
Yeah, I mean, I have Hoare losing first round, but still, making it through.
Yep.
The Hoare kid's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some freaking wins this year. I just think the freshman Gray's a little banged up. He was, but I just think the senior there, he's not your normal 6th place guy.
Nope.
He was 10 seconds away from being in the WPIAL finals. I'm giving the edge to Gray there. So I have Gray, Snyder, Green, Hoare, and Stevenson all moving on. So I have the 4 I have in the semis all moving on, and then add Kendall Hoare in there, the freshman out of Du Bois. who's really freaking good.
Who do you have winning?
I have Snyder winning the bracket.
Okay, so do I. So I got Snyder over Gray. I got Gray beating Stevenson on the bottom side. I got Snyder over Green on the top side. Flipping that result. Going down, I got Green beating LeBrier. I got LeBrier coming back and taking fourth, beating Stevenson in the process, beating Hoare in the process. And I got Stevenson taking fifth. So my 5 are Snyder, Gray, Green, LeBrier, and Stevenson. Give me all the WPIAL boys here at 189.
I need to see another Snyder Green match.
Oh,
the one
sign
name we
me
do
up.
have to throw out there is Henry Pats. We can't not bring him up.
He was I had him in that blood round.
He's been in every tournament, in every big match he's been in. He was a blood round guy at Powerade. There's a chance he wins that first round matchup. I mean, Avery Orrin's good, but Pats has been battle tested this year. That's not a cakewalk first match for Avery Orrin. I'm not saying Pats is going to win it, but that's a match. You have it.
I do.
That's going to be a really good match.
Yep, I agree. All right, dude. 215. One of my favorites. All right. You look at this weight class, and it's been dominated by the WPIAL all year, but one guy has come out kind of ahead of the rest, and I'm not picking against him anymore. So give me Elijah Brown to win it over Roskowski. So I'll do this a little backwards. Those are my finalists. My semifinals, I got Conroy, and I got Thompson as the other semifinalist. So the 4 big dogs that we've been talking about all year, I think, making the semis. Dropping down, I got Conroy taking third over Roskowski, and then I got Tustin over Wassel for 5th and 6th. Tustin beating goals in the blood round there. Not blood round, but, the round of 16 on the backside, the consies, and a reverse of the section match there.
I get the exact same semis you do. I feel like most people have that as well. Or top 4 kids in the state. Brown, Connor, Roskowski, and Thompson. And then I think those 4 are obviously going to make it, and I think Tustin gets out as well. I think Tustin's clearly the 5th best guy here in this weight, even with his kind of disappointing, I'll say it, section tournament. He ended up defaulting to 6th. But, goals from Bethel Park can't count him out. He has a win over Tustin this year in that section tournament. But yeah, I have same thing. I have Brown and Roskowski in the finals. Brown and Conroy are 1-1 this year. An ultimate tiebreaker win for Conroy, and then Brown kind of beat him up a little bit in that section final, teched him. I don't have Conroy and Roskowski wrestling in this tournament, but I want them. I just want to selfishly watch it because as soon as Snyder and Green got done, Conroy and Roskowski walk out onto the mat in the very next match, and then we got to watch that. The table was flipped on the side. Everything.
Incredible.
They went flying into the table. Roskowski's gas tank will get him from here to California.
And back.
Conroy looks like he just got done playing an NFL game. I mean, it's like
I know, dude. They're monsters. And
Thompson's the best athlete of all. I mean,
I know. And he's a sophomore.
I'm not saying he's a better wrestler, but just off athleticism,
I know.
He's gonna have every Division I football recruit he wants. It's like, holy Jesus. And then you have Tustin, who's the next guy. Like, holy hell, those 5. Yeah, absolutely.
And, all football players, all dogs, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I agree. I love this weight, and, sign me up for those semis. And I want to see it. I want to see that Conroy-Roskowski match again for 3rd and 4th. That's why I picked that to happen again. I want to see it.
And that was a big – I think it goes unseen just because of the other matches here. But Thompson beating Conroy for 3rd and 4th last week, That's a really big win for Roman Thompson.
Big time.
Very big win for Roman Thompson.
Absolutely. All right.
The big boys.
But not least, the big boys. All right. So I got Turk, McConnell, Rierick, and Cam Dana as the semifinalist. I got Dana beating Rierick on the bottom side, and I got Turk beating McConnell on the top side. I got Turk beating Dana in the final. Going down, I got Rierick taking third over Kearns. Kearns out of, I'm sorry, where is he from?
Mifflin County.
County. Yeah, Mifflin County. I got him taking fourth, and then I got McConnell taking fifth over Mr. D'Angelo Hamilton. I think he's going to make a nice run, but fall just short there from Fox Chapel.
Dude, I have Hamilton in that 5th and 6th place match against McConnell too.
Hamilton, I just think that's how the bracket's going to break down.
Yeah, Hamilton is. We said it last week when who were we talking to? Mackenzie McGuire. We were talking to, and all three of us were like, "Dude, we love that Hamilton kid from Fox Chapel. He's so fun to watch wrestle." And I think he's going to have a really nice run. I think he's going to lose his first round matchup and then just run through that backside. I think it sets up well for him. I have the same. I don't have the same semis as you. I have Turk, McConnell, Rierick. I have Kearns over Dana. And then I have Kearns in the finals. I have Turk beating Kearns in the finals, but I do have Dana taking third over Rierick for third and fourth. So I have Turk, Kearns, Dana, Rierick, and McConaughey. How do you? That's one name I don't. Is it McConaughey like Matthew or?
I don't know because
I'll ask him tomorrow.
Yeah, you got to ask him tomorrow because there was McConaughey's from Moon that grew up with my brother, but I'm not sure how to pronounce. And we need to know. I mean, kid's a dog, so you know what I mean. We got to figure that one out.
I'll see him tomorrow. I'll go ask him.
There we go. And again, this is at Cannon Mac. Yeah. So Cannon Mac, of course, one of the best places to watch a tournament. So, check it out, boys. I mean,
I don't think they do. I don't think they do this here, Donnie. Yeah. At the regional, maybe they do. Let's say they do. Pick an OW just for shits and gigs. If they do it, pick an OW.
Bodie Marlowe.
Yeah, it's a pretty good pick.
I picked him over Cunningham. So and I think if he beats Cunningham, he's going to get it.
If Marlowe beats Cunningham, he gets it. I can't argue that whatsoever.
Who you got?
I'd probably say the same. I think there's two. I think if Cunningham wins,
honorable mention Ramil Islamov.
The three that come to my head, the 72-pound winner, even if it is Cunningham, I could see it being him. But if Marlowe wins, it's Marlowe. If Islamov wins, he has a damn good chance.
And the thing is with Ramil is like he texts everyone, dude. So like he gets those bonus points as well. So yeah, I mean those are definitely two for me.
And I think if somebody other than Elijah Brown wins 215, that person will have a really good shot just because of the high end depth or the top end depth there. Brown, just because he's beaten them all, I don't think if he wins it, he'll be in the running for it. Maybe one of the top guys, but if somebody other than him wins it, I think they'll have a good shot.
I think that's a fantastic call. I mean, I think, that's obviously the top end weight. But there's a lot of good highlights, good storylines, and that's one of them. Again, the 145, the 172, 107. Just watch that whole weight class. Don't be late to any of this. You gotta want to get settled in because the front side and the back side of 107 is going to be fire. So you're not going to want to walk into the gym, as they're starting. You want to get there before.
Wrestling starts at 5:30 tomorrow, I believe, right?
Yes. So I think that's a good thing to pull up for the last thing.
5 or 5. Yeah, it's weigh-ins are 4:30.
Yeah, let's see here. Boys wrestling. Let's look at the schedule. I believe you're right. But yeah, schedule.
Well, Brian Fair sent it to me, I believe. Shout out Brian Fair, bro, athletic director. He's on
Love
the
it.
WPIAL Wrestling Committee, one of the best out there.
Brackets.
He's got a busy weekend. He's going to Altoona tomorrow for AA regionals, and then Saturday he's going to Fairmont State. See your boy G, because his son's wrestles for Seton Hill as their 41-pounder, and they have regionals at Fairmont State. It was cool catching up with G on Saturday too.
Oh yeah, that's my man. I'm pumped for him and everything he's doing down there at Fairmont State. He loves it down there, man. He really does.
Yeah, he was excited. I know he got Brock Evans just committed to him from Waynesburg.
Yeah, he was
he's really excited about having Brock there, getting him there. So there's a nice and then Stone King, Waynesburg kid. He's looking at those Waynesburg kids. Stone King's, I believe, going to be the 1 seed in his weight in that super region there. So yeah, always good to see G catch up with him.
And it's a good time of year, man. Support these local colleges. You look around and it's not hard to find the information, man. Support the UPJs, the Seton Hills, the Waynesburgs, the St. Vincent. There's tons, the Washington and Jeffersons. There's tons of local schools where there's local WPIAL kids still doing their thing. So, I'm all for kids wrestling as long as they can, man. So it's fantastic.
It's pretty cool. A lot of the local colleges around us, their head coaches are all guys that wrestled in the WPIAL not so long ago. I mean, you have Reinhardt at UPJ, you have Vinny D at Seton Hill, you have Nania at St. Vincent, you have McKinney at Waynesburg, you have, G's not a WPIAL guy, but he was at Waynesburg, knows the WPIAL very well. He's at Fairmont State. There's excuse me, and I'm sorry if I'm forgetting someone, but there's a lot of good resources and connections out there with some of the local Division II and Division III schools, kind of in this region area. It's fun to see.
Yeah, and that's to say, just because you may not have even made a regional tournament, you didn't get out of WPIALs, that doesn't mean you don't have, stuff that these coaches want. You know what I mean? They want tough WPIAL kids, especially at the Division II, Division III level. So, just keep on grinding, man. And you never know when the right opportunity and, your day might come. So,
yeah, look at West Liberty.
Yep,
that lineup is loaded with WPIAL guys, and that real well. There's a handful of West A kids there that I know you're very close with. McGeary being one of them, who's had one of the best careers of any West Lib wrestler ever. Mr.
Consistency.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. My dude is a golfer too. He's a dog, dude. He shoots like
you were telling me that.
High 70s, low 80s, bro. He has a nice little draw. He's nice, man. Tiger. Yeah, I call him Tiger. But yeah, man, again, we're babbling, but I appreciate you guys coming on, hanging out with us. We've been going on for over 2 hours. We broke down AA. We broke down AAA. AA is at Altoona. AAA is at Cannon Mac. Go ahead, Kaz. Give me your final thoughts before we sign off.
Final thoughts. I'm excited, as always. Going to be some great matches. Always a great time to see these kids punch their ticket to Hershey. What's your plans this weekend? Are you going to be at Cannon Mac?
Yeah, I'm going to probably sneak over to Cannon Mac. I'm not sure what days. Probably minimum Saturday afternoon and probably tomorrow afternoon, I would say as well. But that fits that placing round matches like that for 3:00. That's a must watch.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there as well. And then I had something else I had to ask you or tell you. I can't remember what it was. Oh, next week, state tournament preview. I'm assuming we're going to have Matt Taylor, our man from the eastern part of the state, on to break it. That's always next week. Buckle up, guys. That'll just so you know that we'll be pushing 2.5 hours.
Oh, yeah. So I have that penciled in, Kaz. Let's see here, buddy.
It's going to have to be, well, we only have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday because tournament starts Thursday.
Right.
Brackets will be out Sunday.
I had either Tuesday looking at the wrong week, buddy. Holy crap. So that would be the 6th is a week from. That's when they start the 6th, so probably the 5th, bud. Like
Yeah.
Wednesday night.
Oh, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan and wrestler in the state of Pennsylvania.
For sure. So again, we'll plan for that. If you guys are watching, come hang out with us next Wednesday. We'll be breaking down the state brackets, reacting to these, of course, the guys that made it, the guys that didn't, and where they're at in the state brackets and what that looks like. We'll have, of course, Matt Taylor on. He'll give us his information from the other side of the state. It'll be a great night, as always. One of our favorite shows of the year for sure, Kaz.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites. I kind of always pencil it. That and the Powerade preview show. That's always, I know you and I always get juiced up for that one.
Absolutely.
So yeah, going to be another good show next week. And as always, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Looking forward to talking to some of you guys.
Absolutely. For Kaz, for D-Hall, thank you guys for watching and listening to this edition of Near Falls in the WPIAL. See you.